In his commentary on the Strenna, Father Chavez indicates and analyses some of Don Bosco's experiences and the choices he made, the evolution of his works and his understanding of who would be the ones for whom he worked, what he meant by abandoned youth, how he responded to the needs of the young, how he responded with flexibility to these needs, his insistence on poverty of life and untiring work. Starting from an historical examination of his approach, ways of assessing it are suggested, so as to be able to reconstruct an image of Don Bosco faithfully and not merely repetitive.
It's a process which needs to involve all the groups of the Salesian family, so as to arrive at a shared view of Don Bosco which is educated, professional, profound, and in this way to appreciate the historical, pedagogical, spiritual patrimony, in a process which, while assisting a knowledge of the youth situation, clarifies the profile of a Christian in society. In other words, it's a question of examining again institutions and structures for bringing people together and for education, looking at the preventive system and its relevance today, and presenting to the world and to the Church the particular style of the Salesian educator.
Following the tradition started by Don Bosco himself, the Strenna is a real spiritual and pastoral program, enabling individuals and communities to study, reflect, pray, and act together. For the groups of the Salesian family and their coordinating bodies, such as the local and national consultative committees, Father Chavez indicates some fundamental points and points of reference and practical commitments. The pastoral charity, which was the defining feature of the whole of the life story of Don Bosco and which was at the heart of his many undertakings, has to be the trademark and the reason for the credibility of the Salesian family among the young. Don Bosco, who supported so many sufferings, sacrifices and deprivations for his boys, teaches us that Salesian pastoral activity requires conformity to the heart of the Good Shepherd and a good practice of asceticism. The minutes of the founding of the Salesian congregation and the historical development of Don Bosco's work demonstrate that the main purpose of the Salesian family is the salvation of the young, who, following his own example, need to become co-involved, given responsibility, and accompanied in becoming apostles of their peers. The young, the priority field of work for the Salesian apostolate, need to be encountered in those places and situations and on those frontiers where they are to be found. The initiatives and the institutions which are created for them are insufficient without the exercise of assistance and a presence among them. The response Don Bosco gave to the needs of his boys can throw light on those which nowadays the Salesian family has to recognize in order to fight indifference, moral relativism, the false ideologies, and the consumerism which destroy the value of things and of experiences. The questions which guided Don Bosco ought to accompany the Salesian family as it listens to the cry of the young, offering a response to their most pressing and deepest needs, practical and spiritual needs. The memoirs of the oratory of Saint Francis of Sales, written at the explicit request of Pius IX, are an essential point of reference for coming to know Don Bosco's spiritual and pastoral journey. Described also as memories of the future, they contain the motivations behind the choices Don Bosco made.
I invite each group of the Salesian family, the local and national committees, through study and reflection, to take up the message of the Strenna for 2012. May pastoral activity, where possible, jointly undertaken, be inspired by the life story of our father and founder, so that his dream and the mandate received from God may still continue today.
Don Bosco
offers us a simple but at the same time prophetic presentation of his spirit and his mission, the dream at 9 years of age. In these pages, with an autobiographical flavour, the field of work being entrusted to him was pointed out, the young. The aim of his apostolate was indicated, to make them grow as individuals through education. A method of education which would be effective was offered him, the preventive system, the context in which all that he did, and today all that we do, was presented. The marvellous plan of God who loves the young.
Il disegno meraviglioso di Dio che ama i giovani. Possiamo dire che egli visse per trasformare in realtà quel sogno.
We can say that he lived in order to change this dream into reality. We're called to do what our dear Father did, to make the young our program of life, the reason for our living, spending on their behalf all our energies to our last breath. Don Bosco never lets his boys down. To help you reflect on this, I'll tell you a little story.
Vi affido un aneddoto.
Imagine the courtyard of a prison in an 18th century European colony. It is dawn, and while the sun begins to fill the eastern sky with golden colours, a prisoner is brought out into the yard to be executed. He is a priest, condemned to death for his opposition to the cruelty with which the natives in the colony were being treated. He is standing against a wall and gazes at the firing squad, his fellow countrymen. Before blindfolding him, the officer asks him the traditional question about his final wishes. The reply surprises everyone. He asks to be able to play his flute for one last time. The soldiers are put at ease while they wait for the prisoner to play. When the notes begin to fill the silent morning air, the whole prison is flooded with music, which sweet and enchanting fills with peace that place a daily witness to violence and sadness. The officer is worried, because the longer the music lasts, the more absurd his task seems to be. He therefore orders the soldiers to open fire. The priest dies instantly, but to the amazement of all present, the music continues its dance of life. Death outfaced.
In una società totalmente impegnata nel soffocare il messaggio.
In a society totally committed to silencing Christ's message, I think it's our vocation to be among those who continue to make the music of life heard. In a world doing everything it can to prevent the young hearing the insistent invitation of Christ to come and see, it's our privilege to have been drawn to Don Bosco and to have been encouraged to play the music of the heart, to bear witness to the transcendent, to exercise a spiritual fatherhood, to lead youngsters in a direction which corresponds to their dignity and to their most genuine desires. My dear brothers, sisters, all the members of the Salesian family, friends of Don Bosco, all young people, I wish you all a happy new year for 2012, full of God's blessings, and with a renewed commitment to continuing to make the music heard, our music, which fills the lives of the young with meaning and makes them discover the source of joy. Coming to know and imitate Don Bosco, let us make the young our life's mission.
La missione della nostra vita.